First comment on what we just watched on some of the politicians who are saying that there are some people who should not go and pay a visit to the grieving family of Raila Odinga. And I've had some very strong words coming out of that group of people saying that they do not want to see Gachagua in Bondo. We've also had Gladys Wanga talking about Gachagua has no business to go and even grieve Raila Odinga. And I want to say this. I think if you've been in the political circles for the last 15 years, you have definitely abused Raila Odinga. And I'm not trying to create anger or manufacture anger. I just want to remind Kenyans, we forgive, we are very good people, we forgive, but we should never forget. The biggest abuser of Raila Odinga is William Ruto. There is no word that William Ruto has not used to abuse Raila. Murogi. Amemwita. You know, at one point in the campaign rally, it was unbecoming because the abuses were just flying left, right, and center. And there is nothing that William Ruto has not used to abuse Raila Odinga. During elections, during campaigns, after campaigns, even at the time when after the 207 coalition government, you remember when there was the 207, 208 post-election violence, and then there was the handshake, and Raila Odinga even actually said, thank you, William Ruto, for helping me in this cause, and gave him the Ministry of Agriculture. Even during that time, William Ruto was still abusing Raila Odinga. And I want to remind Kenyans that William Ruto was the one on the podium conducting the state funeral, saying how he has lost a friend, how he has lost a brother, how he has lost a very close person. And one thing we have to remember as Kenyans is, number one, the only reason Raila Odinga went to this government, the Kenya Kwanza government, was because William Ruto desperately needed him. Because it was after the Gen Z. It was after the Gen Z. Had there not been the uprising that Raila Odinga actually pushed Kenyans and said, you must fight for your country to bring your country back. This president is becoming and people went to the streets. They believed in him and they said, we're going to fight for our country. And it was only after parliament was breached and burnt down that William Ruto panicked and then said, my goodness, I need to call Raila Odinga to government. So Raila Odinga never went to government because he loved to go to and join Kenya Kwanza. In fact, he did William Ruto a favor. But if there's a person who has been abusing Raila Odinga, number one is William Ruto. So for anyone to say that anyone who has abused Raila Odinga should not be in Bondo, then in the state funeral, let me tell you, all the VIPs should have not been in that. Because all the VIPs were politicians. And in this politics, today we are friends, tomorrow we are not friends. Today someone is calling you Mrogi. For some of us women, you're a prostitute. Tomorrow you are the best friend. It is like that. That is how the politics of this country is. But the thing that you have to remember is above and beyond politics, William Ruto actually was never a friend to Raila Odinga. And yet, the family has been very cordial. The family has allowed everyone to go and mourn Raila Odinga, whether he was your hero, whether he was your enemy, whether he was what, you mourn him. And that is what is being tolerated, and that is what the family is actually having to do every day for the last how many weeks. So for me to listen to the likes of Gladys Wanga speaking of such things, and then going to State House to stand next to William Ruto, shame on her. Because the person, she should have said, we don't even want a state funeral because the state funeral will be run by William Ruto, who's the number one abuser of Raila Odinga. Then she should have come out guns blazing. Okay. So I think if the united opposition wants to go and mourn, whether it is their hero, whether it is their enemy, whether it is their colleague, their workmate, fellow politician, whatever, let them go if the family has agreed.
Would you classify that as hypocrisy? Fred, would you classify that as hypocrisy?
I personally would classify the mourning and the pretense of William Ruto crying and saying, oh, he was really crying because he knew that he is absolutely messed up in the 2027
not
election.
Crocodile tears? No crocodile tears?
Allow me because I let them speak, but they always, I think I elicit reactions.
I'll give you an
from them
opportunity to say a final word.
This is my thing. Whether it is hypocrisy or not, other Kenyans were allowed to be hypocrites or not. Other Kenyans were allowed to go there and shed their crocodile tears. We know some people who are shedding crocodile tears. but yet they were very happy celebrating, we know. So now, if the united opposition wants to go there and pay their last respects, I don't think it is in anyone's space to say, no, you can't go. In fact, only the family should have that right to say, I'm sorry, but we cannot have you in our homestead. You want to mourn him elsewhere, but we are not going to have you in our homestead. So that is very shameful of Gladys Wanga and anyone else who's saying that, oh, walitukana Raila. My friend, William Ruto walitukana Raila Sunday to Sunday.
I think Gloria,
but I have not,
I hope this.
I think Gloria is setting
but you know, I have
our own
completed.
questions, and
I've not.
You need to complete.
Fred,
she has avoided that question about the politics.
I've not avoided.
Because of time.
Fred, listen.
Because
everyone is accorded
talk
time.
About William Ruto.
Everyone is accorded time. When it reaches
Senator,
here, I'm told, hurry up with your
Let's
thoughts.
do it this way.
So I have not even finished.
Let's do it this way. This is going to be your final comment because I only have.
I have not
but
finished.
Unfortunately, we don't have any more time.
But you know, you're being very unfair to me.
60 seconds, Senator, because I need to give the gentleman time as well to finish up. So on the political side, okay, you moved on. Fine. Final comments, Bonagakuya, on this issue.
In short, I would just want to conclude by saying there is nothing wrong for a team of opposition leaders to find time and go to Consul and